Welcome to Caring Community with your host, Jay West. In this community, creative initiatives are welcome. A culture of transformation is normal, and miracles are expected. Welcome to Caring Community.
Hi, welcome to Caring Community. I'm Jay West, and this is my new friend, Dave Owens.
Thanks, Jay.
How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Dave and I actually work together now, and I never knew him before I started working at King of Kings. And Dave's one of our worship leaders. I don't know your exact title, but anyway, I don't think you're in the title, so I'm not either. Just call me Jay. So anyway, we've been wanting to get together for the few weeks to have coffee, and our schedule is something changed. Normally we have a group activity at our church for the staff on Tuesdays, and it got moved to Wednesdays, so we had an open slot. And they were talking about snow later on in the week, so I thought, well, I'm going to move the TV stuff to today and film today rather than later in the week. And you were available just through casual conversation, and so here you are. So,
yeah, it worked out good. Like you said, I thought my morning was busy, but ended up it's not. So it was good timing.
You've lived in the area all your life, is that true?
Yeah, born and raised in Council Bluffs,
Okay.
so in the Council Bluffs, Omaha area, and I love it here.
How long have you been walking with God?
I was born and raised in with parents that love Jesus, in a Christian family, always going to church.
Okay.
So I've always known God, known about Jesus, but I think it was right at the age of 15 is when I really made that personal decision,
Right.
to follow after Him.
Did you start playing instruments at an early age?
Yeah, so I've been a musician my whole life, and my dad taught me how to play guitar and drums probably around the age of 10,
Okay.
10-ish.
Okay.
And then I just kind of took it from there and got better and better. And
I played a lot of instruments. I played viola, I played drums, I played keys, I played took clarinet in college just for fun.
Yeah.
I took guitar, but that really wasn't. I can't sing. I kiddingly say I sing in the key of J, and nobody knows where that key is but me. So I'm not a good singer at all, but I can carry a tune. But
love it. Yeah, I started playing saxophone in the 5th grade.
Really, oh.
And I played it all the way through high school,
Really?
jazz band, concert band, and all that. And
Sweet.
it was great. I love music. I love playing music. It's powerful.
Yeah. So now you're one of the worship leaders at King of Kings, but prior to that, you were at another church in town. Where were you at?
Prior to King of Kings, I was at My City Church.
Okay.
I helped launch the church 4 years ago, and it was just a really, really tremendous experience to see God move so quick. The church just grew so quick.
Right.
I remember, the first day, our first service, we opened our doors, and I believe we had right around 700 people show up day one.
Right.
But even day two, there were still 300 or 400.
Right.
And then from that, we grew to about 1,000.
Most churches, they launch and the next Sunday it drops. So
Yeah.
launch with a lot of enthusiasm, or just friends show up to see what's going on.
Yeah,
so
typical statistics, but man, the church grew rapidly. Lives were being changed. Souls saved and lives changed. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Were you at a church before that one?
Yeah, so prior to that, I was on staff at Flatland Church.
Okay, I know where that is.
Here in Omaha, Nebraska, under Pastor Bart. And that was just a really, it's just an amazing church, amazing pastor, and just a great team of people there. But I was there for about 3 years, but then I just felt like God saying, "Hey, I got something else for you." God didn't tell me what it was.
Right.
I just knew that there was something else in the works, and it was time for me to kind of step down out of the Flatland position. And just take a leap of faith of not knowing what was next. I didn't have a job lined up.
Right.
I just knew that this, that the season was over. I needed to trust. And then...
Right. So now you're at King of Kings. What did that transition look like from My City Church to...
Yeah, so that was really interesting. Kind of condensing a longer story. Was one of the worship directors at My City Church. It wasn't full-time. It was just like a stipend, kind of a part-time position there. But a little background with me and King of Kings specifically was when I was probably about 18 years old. You'll be able to maybe do the math of how old I am now, but King of Kings had
He's not a day over 72. So.
Called a Hearts of Fire service
Okay.
at King of Kings, and I played guitar for that for a couple years.
Okay.
And so I really got to know people within King of Kings Church, and it was just a huge time for me, being young, of what a bigger church can be, just even creatively.
Our paths probably crossed, but we didn't know it.
I'm sure it did.
Because I was doing seminars, I was preaching healing services there. Mark, John Trinkline, Bert Garwood, some of these pastors of the past. Well,
Yeah.
Mark's still there, but
Yep.
were having me in on a pretty consistent basis. So
Yeah.
and so our paths probably crossed, and we didn't even know it. So
Yeah, so that was my small connection with King of Kings, was just being part of the Hearts of Fire worship team, playing guitar. And it really opened my eyes to the level of excellence that you can do within worship. I mean, I was playing with just amazing people on that team. And I was like, wow, like they're letting me play guitar. I better get good. I better get good quick, because some of these guys are really good
Right.
around me. And so that was my first introduction to King of Kings. Loved it. Like I said, I was young, so went on about my life.
right.
And but while I was at my city, about 3.5, 4 years in, I kind of randomly received a phone call and a message from Pastor Greg, just saying, hey, would you ever be interested in a worship director position for the church?
Right.
And I was really just kind of taken back a little bit. There was a lot of things that God was doing behind the scenes in my wife and I's life, to kind of like that question almost made sense in a way. But I wasn't looking for it.
Right.
I wasn't pursuing.
Right.
I wasn't pursuing a job at King of Kings.
Right.
Um,
And I wasn't either. I walked in to visit
Yeah.
the church, and three weeks later, Greg said, "Let's have a coffee."
yeah,
And that morphed into 2 months later being on staff. They weren't looking to hire. I wasn't looking for a job. I was just looking for a new church, because the church plant that I had started, I gave to my son. I just didn't want to. I wanted to be somewhere else to give him more
Right.
freedom. So
yeah. So after I asked a lot of questions to Pastor Greg, and went through the interview and audition process, my wife and I talked about it, prayed about it, and even before the interview, it was like, well, I feel that we should at least, pursue this. God opened a door.
right.
Let's at least pursue it, explore it. And everything lined up, and they offered me, we were talking about titles, the title is Global Worship Director, just so I get to oversee worship for online church, the Omaha campus, and also future campuses
Right.
that King of Kings will plant.
Right.
So really,
Greg and I met yesterday. He has a
it's amazing.
vast vision for 10 plants up and down all the
Yeah.
way through the Midwest, not just in Omaha. So,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. Hearing your story, I'm sitting here thinking, and I don't know if you know the story, but I'm thinking back to how Lyndall Cooley got to Brownsville Assembly of God. I don't know if you know that story or not, but
A little bit, yeah.
and how John Kilpatrick kind of pursued him, and Lyndall had 20 questions or something, or 25 questions, and John Kilpatrick answered all the questions without him answering it or asking him. So
Right.
So and then they went there and had revival, and man, King of Kings
Yeah.
is ripe for revival in my opinion. So
Yeah, it's an amazing church. I'm really excited to see what God's going to do
right,
in the future with that church, and the vision, and it's just the empowerment that Greg's giving to the staff and to the team.
right, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I know you're getting a new sound system, or you've gotten lights, you've gotten all sorts of things, redoing the worship center and the chairs and the stage, and all sorts of things are happening, and media and
Yeah.
online. And tell us a little bit about. I want to learn about because I've seen it, but I want to learn about online worship, because you use other worship venues, you use other worship teams
Yeah.
in the city. We don't, it's not all about King of Kings. Seems to be about the kingdom in the city of Omaha is what it seems to be about.
Exactly. Yeah, I love our online church model. So the difference is it's not live streamed. We have live stream as well to where you can see exactly what's going on. It's the 75-minute Sunday morning service. You can watch it online, live.
Right. So there is that option at 11 o'clock.
Yep, so there is that option.
Yeah.
But the online church experience is basically a 35-minute pre-packaged service that we put together with high detail, excellent worship experience, and it's all pre-recorded and really done really at a high level. So it's a condensed message.
Right.
We even have a kids program, Hey You Kids. It's so fun, kids love it. So announcements, kids program, condensed message, and then there's 2 songs of worship, which are shot and edited kind of like music video style.
Right.
But what I really love is the worship portion is not just King of Kings people. We get to invite other musicians, other worship leaders, other people that are just involved in worship and the music ministries here in town, and get them to be part of it.
We were surprised that every time we watched it, there was a worship leader, because we've been here 22 years, we know a lot of people in town, and I've preached in a lot of churches, and I'm like, well, I know them, and I know them, and I know them, but I didn't know they were connected to King of Kings, so. And then I found out you're using other worship leaders from the city, so.
It's great, we get to bless other musicians and other worship leaders in town, and really bring just an inclusive experience.
Do you guys ever lead, though, just yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're watching online and you're thinking, well, I might want to go to King of Kings someday, but you're not actually seeing our teams, it'd be a little strange too. So.
Yeah, no, like the King of Kings teams, myself personally, and other individuals within King of Kings we'll do some in-house stuff as well.
Where are some of the places you filmed in the city? Because I know you don't do much at our church. So.
So just like you, Jay, I came on board about 6 months ago.
Okay.
So I'm new to everything that's been going on, but I've been good friends with the online church director, Danielle, for a very long time.
Okay.
And but we've done like the Pella building down in the Blackstone district. We just did one of the oldest, I think, Catholic churches right off of Cumming. I think it's called like the Holy Family Church.
Okay.
You'll have to pardon me if that's not the exact name of it.
Sure.
I know they've shot some of the messages at Lorton Gardens.
Right. Yeah. Christmas was done at Lorton Gardens.
Yeah, Christmas was there.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
I actually thought of a place you could go, but I don't even know what's available. But Sozo's Coffee, I think it's a fan. We did a celebration worship down there with about 200 people once, and it was just really fun. So because of the walls and the architecture.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
So we just really try to find fun, visually stunning, visually exciting, especially if there's like stained glass windows, anytime with natural light coming in. So we like to use different venues around the town,
right?
Just to really broaden and again have that inclusive spirit about what we do, just to involve the whole town.
How long does it take to tape, record it?
A long time. What we usually do with worship specifically is we try to get 2 teams, and we'll just make a whole day out of it. Let's just say from 9 a.m. to about, even about 4 or 5 p.m.
Right.
And we really double down. So the first team will show up, they'll load in, and they'll do about 5 or 6 songs. And we record it kind of music video style. So record one song, stop, record one song, stop. And we usually do about 2-3 takes max of every song.
Right.
Then we have lots of things we can edit together and make it look really nice. So the first band pulls in, does about 6 songs, and the next band comes, eats lunch, and we do it again. So we really try to double down on getting, maximizing the amount of content that we can get all in one day.
I've done that here. Sometimes I've done 3, 4, 5 shows in a day, and then I'm set for a while. I'm kind of excited because King of Kings is going to build a television studio.
We are in the I don't have a lot of the details, but we're in the process of putting together kind of an in-house studio, recording, film.
Maybe I'll be able to do something like this on site rather, because I've been doing that here, which I love doing it here. And of course, my stuff's not just on YouTube; it's on Roku and Amazon Amazon TV and is it Amazon? No, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. So I get those slurred together sometimes.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. That's the goal,
yeah.
is to utilize it for things just like this,
Right,
and have a
yeah.
place to where we can host and
Right.
just bless others with a space to
'Cause,
create
you know,
content.
You probably notice I'm a big Bethel fan, and I watch. Bill Johnson. They don't just preach; they don't just do the worship. They do interviews. They talk to all sorts of people. They share. They talk about the kingdom. They have interview settings and all sorts of things that they put out there. And I frequently see them on YouTube. I don't know where else they are. Bethel has their own TV, and you can sign up for that. Obviously, and I haven't done that. There's a cost to it, but still, all these venues, as our culture radically changes, not just because of COVID, but just it's changing to a high-tech society. To how much we can get on these things, these little devices now that didn't even exist 20 years ago.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Having some type of digital online experience is really important in this day and age.
I spend a lot of time in worship. I think I've told you I love Jesus Image, and when my wife died, I just spent hours and hours and hours with Jesus Image and a lot of the old shows and watch them over and over. And there's hundreds of choices. And I can just, if I feel like going to worship at 10 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning or 6 in the morning or whenever, it's there, it's available.
Yeah.
And I would imagine all the previous worship things from King of Kings are there? Or pretty much? Or are they just there for a season?
The live streams, again, which is what's actually happening on stage on Sunday mornings, is not necessarily archived on YouTube.
Okay.
But the online church experience, the 30-minute produced experience, those are archived and they're available on YouTube all the time.
Do you know the website for YouTube, King of Kings? Is it just King of Kings Omaha on YouTube?
I think it's King of Kings Omaha. But if you just search for King of Kings Omaha, you'll find the channel. It's really the first thing that pops up.
So have you written music?
Again, born and raised with music, and I've been writing and performing music as long as I can remember.
You mentioned you have an album, some kind of a worship album?
A while back, when I was working at Flatland Church, I was able to put out a worship record. I believe there's about 6 or 7 songs.
Yeah, cool.
And just under my own name, Dave Owens. And it was really a great experience. Pretty proud of the songs.
Right.
But yeah, I was able to do that and various other projects. Started a rock band when I was in high school.
Where'd you record?
So the worship project I recorded at a place called The Grid in Lincoln, Nebraska, with a friend of mine named Philip Zock.
Okay. We've used, my son Jason's done 2 worship albums. The second one's not done yet, but we've used Kyle Knapp. I don't know if you know Kyle. So we've used his little home studio thing there to record. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so anyway, can people get that album? Is it available?
I believe you can find it. It's not really available for purchase or anything like that, but you can find it streaming online.
Okay.
iTunes, Spotify. If you just look up my name, Dave Owens, you should be able to find it. It's been a while since I've really kept it active, but it is there.
Right. Okay. So you don't actually have CDs or that you could purchase from you if they
if you could get a hold of me directly, I do have some, probably in a tote in my basement somewhere. I got a few CDs left over.
We'll put your email address at the bottom if you don't mind. And if you want to get in touch with him and hear his music, so I'm very impressed, and I'm not just impressed because I'm a King of Kings, okay? But I've watched this guy worship, and a few times when he's like, he'll just stop, put his arms up, or I've seen him kneel down for extended times. He's very humble. He's not trying to make a name for himself.
Right.
He's about Jesus. He's about the kingdom. He's about God. And that's what I admire about you. And so.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's great. So I encourage you to get his music, or pop in on sometime and do the online. What's it called? Not online. What do you call the 10 o'clock service? What do we call it?
Just the King of Kings online church experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get to see him, and sometimes he's not leading; other people are leading, and he's in the background playing guitar or whatever. So I haven't seen you play drums yet. I have to see how that goes. So as a percussionist, I watch the drummers. So
I love playing drums. I'm a little rusty at it, but
I got to play 2 weeks ago. I was in Sacramento, and they had congos on the stage. They had a girl drummer. It was the pastor's daughter. She was pretty good. But they had congos. I said, is anybody playing those today? He said, no. I said, could I come up and play? He said, yeah. So I just went and played congos
Yeah.
during the worship. So
Why not?
pretty easy to follow along. And you can't mess up the band by playing congos too bad, especially when you're not mic'd. So anyway,
Right.
it was a lot of fun. So what's your vision? What's your plans? What do you sense God's telling you to do over the next 2 or 3 years at King of Kings? Or just personally?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I know coming into King of Kings, I mean, I really feel the sense, like you said, almost of revival, King of Kings. There's a lot of really special God moments that are happening at that church.
Right.
They hired 2 new guys to kind of move the worship department forward, myself and Johnny Venegas.
And Johnny's amazing. He's born and raised in Chile. He's been a friend of mine for a number of years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So very, very excited to work with Johnny and the team. And I really feel like, Pastor Greg has really cast great vision into the church,
Right.
into where we're going, really just to shift the church, not to make the church famous, but to make Jesus famous.
Yeah, I met with him for lunch yesterday. That clearly came out,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things coming up. Talk about the prayer and worship nights that are coming up. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have been brainstorming and coming up and making details and putting together what we're going to, we don't have an official name for it yet, but they're
Right.
going to be prayer and worship nights. We're going to do them 4 times a year. And we're really believing that these nights are really going to be special, not just for King of Kings, but obviously open to the entire city.
Right.
And just to see God move with healing, prophetic word,
Right.
just a deep time of prayer, all supported by music.
We estimate
and worship
90
arts.
minutes for worship nights.
Yeah, roughly about 90 minutes.
90 minutes, and just
is the template.
The whole kind of lights, sound, everything, just magnificent. So the first one's in end of April. I don't remember the other months. You know what they are?
I don't have them right in front of me. It's going to be April, and then probably right towards the end of August, right? Right when school is kind of starting.
We had one in January, so
Yes, we did in January, the end of April, August, and then I believe right towards the end of October.
Okay, I was thinking it might be November when Mark retires, but it could be, yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah. So check that out if you just like worship. Their worship nights, they're going to be on a Wednesday night, then a Thursday night, then a Friday night. Trying different nights to see how it goes.
Yeah.
And select. I don't know where you're headed, but I'm like, man, we could do a monthly. After in the future. I mean, I just feel like the place will be packed, and it's going to be glorious. It'll be a lot of fun. We also have National Day of Prayer. I'm just going to mention that. May 5th, we're doing a National Day of Prayer breakfast at King of Kings. We're hosting it for the city. Nobody else in the city was doing it, so we are. And you guys are going to have some worship there. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, we just had a meeting about that yesterday, and I'm excited to get a team put together and just really help host and facilitate.
Right. And our Lieutenant Governor Mike Foley is going to be our guest speaker, and I will be interviewing him here on this show the night before that, and that'll air afterwards then, of course. But it's going to be great for our city. I've already started lining up city leaders to have some of the prayer points, talked to some of them last night on the phone, getting them connected. So mark on your calendars if you're local. May 5th, 7 a.m., King of Kings, National Day of Prayer breakfast.
Yeah.
And I think the cost, you can check it out on the website, but it'd be a nice, we have a lady in our staff who's a caterer.
Yeah,
and the food
fantastic.
Food is outstanding, so you're not going to get just a little cheap meal that we bought at Sam's or Walmart.
Right.
It's going to be really good.
No, it's going to be a good breakfast to wake you up.
Right, yeah. So a minute or two left. Anything you want to share that's on your heart?
I'm just grateful for you, and you're coming along and really just giving us a deeper sense of prayer, a deeper sense of the power of God and what He can do in people's lives.
Right, yeah.
I know I personally, I see your testimonies of what's happening in your life and other people's lives around you, and it's encouraging, to see God moving in such mighty ways, even though the world around us may seem like it's fallen apart and a lot of bad things happening. but it's good to know that Jesus is still on the move.
All right. You know, a lot of
And,
students and even young adults will say, well, I've read the Bible for years, and I just thought they were Bible stories. I didn't really know they were real.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they see something supernatural, miraculous, and they go, wow, he still does this today.
That's right.
Hebrews 13:8 says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So there's
Yeah.
no reason to think what he did then stopped.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely.
So-
No, he's powerful. And I'm super excited to be at King of Kings and be on this journey and see where God takes my family and I and the church in the future.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a church, King of Kings is certainly not the only good church in Omaha. There are hundreds. I've been in 145 of them, preached in a lot of them, and so there's some great churches. But
Absolutely.
And if not King of Kings, we could name 200 others. Okay. So we're not saying we have an exclusive handle on this. It's just that we just met. He got hired last fall. I just got hired in January, and it's a good team. I think, Greg, you got hired, not planned. I got hired, not planned.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit planned it. Talked to Pastor Greg.
Absolutely.
And he talked to us, and here we are.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thanks a lot for being on the show. Thanks a lot for watching
love
Caring
it.
Community. Dave Owens, check him out. You'll be glad you did. We have a vision for the whole city. That's why we're doing the prayer breakfast. That's why we use other worship teams. It's not just about King of Kings, okay? That happens to be where we are located, but we really do care about the city, and that's why we do what we do. And we love all of you, and God loves you even more. And thanks a lot for tuning in, and God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.